So I have a question for all of you. Picture now that your family is in the Philippines, being underfed, mistreated, and beaten by Japanese soldiers in World War II. How far would you go to save your family in a situation like that? This situation was actually happening in World War II, and the father of a certain family, Paul Irving Gunn, had to go save his family in these dire times. The first point that I have is Paul Irving Gunn's early life and his teenage years. The second point that I have is Paul Irving Gunn's wife and how he married and had kids and his family life. Third point is how they all got separated in World War II and how it affected them. And fourth point is how Pappy Gunn saved his family and won World War II. When Pappy was born and when he was a small child, he loved engineering. He built his first engine at a very young age, at around 10. He loved working on cars, motorcycles, anything that he could get his hands on, he would make. This all changed when he saw an airplane fly over his house, a rickety old biplane covered in canvas. He found this old engine and tried to build his own airplane, but it was just too heavy and it couldn't work. Then he joined the Navy in World War I because they needed Navy pilots and carrier testers. He was vital in the production of carriers. Now, for those of you who don't know, a carrier is a big boat on the ocean that has a runway on top so airplanes can land on it. Back in World War I, these were very small. They were basically just little rafts. And Pappy Gunn was one of the very few that survived these tests. Most of his friends just died in ocean accidents and drowned. He was in a very dark depression after the war because he started smuggling goods, drugs, and since he had his engineering knowledge, he knew how to make his car the fastest in the town. He could go smuggle, no police could catch him, and he could just get away with anything. This was all happening until he met his wife, Polly, which leads me to my second point. Polly was a Catholic, and she really took Pappy Gunn's life and turned it for the better. With Polly, he had 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls. And these kids were the love of Pappy's life. He raised them very well, helped them fight off bullies in school, and he was a very good dad. Polly was helping with emotional aspects of their bringing up, and they both worked very well together as a team. A certain point that has to be brought up during this time is when they got married, Polly's father gave them a wedding present. It's rope spool bread. Now, for each leg of the bed was a small rope spool. And this bed could be taken down and packed and brought wherever they needed it. So home to Pappy was where Polly was, and where Polly was, the rope spool bed was. They took it everywhere. When they were living in the Philippines, down in Manila, they heard about the attack on Pearl Harbor through the radio. They were very surprised at this event because nobody thought that anybody could attack the US. They were shocked. Only a week after Pearl Harbor, the Philippines were attacked by the Japanese. And for those of you who don't know, the Japanese do not surrender. They take as much as they can in wartime. And Pappy Gunn, that's his nickname, was taken away from his family by General MacArthur, and he got secretly stolen away from his family to the Australia continent. During this time, he tried to save his family, but he had 2 forces to fight against, the Japanese and his own military, because they wanted him to stay away from his family. So he couldn't really do anything. He was caught between a rock and a hard place. But he wasn't going to let that stop him. He was going to find his family. So during the war, the 4 years that he was in Australia and working for the Air Force, he modified tons of bombers, different bombers, strafing planes, fighter planes. He modified lots of things. He put 8 Gatlin guns in the front of a B-25 bomber, and what he would do with them is fly them 5 feet above the ocean and shred boats with these 8 Gatlin guns. So, and the Army loved them. They actually mass-produced these and called them gunships. So, and he used these in a battle against the Japanese in Manila and saved the Philippines with these fleet of airplanes. This leads me to my 4th point, how he regained his family and afterwards what happened. So, after Pappy Gunn fought this big battle against the Japanese in Manila, he sent a small squad of Army troops and a tank to go crashing through the internment camp where his family was being held. His family, after they were found and all the Japanese soldiers were apprehended, his family was very thin, scrawny, underfed, bruises everywhere. They were not in good shape, and neither was Pappy. Pappy's lines all across his face, he had so many stress lines. He had several bullet wounds in his arm after this battle, but he finally found his family, and that was enough for him. After the war, his house was destroyed in Manila. The whole of the Philippines were destroyed. Everything was leveled. Even the rope spool bed was destroyed. But the only thing that the Japanese could not destroy was the love for Pappy and his children and his wife. That was indestructible. So, to recap what I was going to say is my 4 points are Pappy's young life and his teenage years. Second point would be the World War I and how he met Polly. Third point would be how World War II affected Pappy Gunn and his family. And the 4th point is how he fought back and saved his family. And right now I have a picture of you to show you guys of Pappy Gunn.
Let me get my
Thank you.
they time out on us. Hi. You'll see me in your video.
This right here is Pappy Gunn, and this is his family right here. And as you can see, he has a bunch of wounds in his right arm, and they're all very, very scrawny and underfed. But after they found each other, they were so happy because they had not seen each other for 4 years. So it just shows you how much a father can work for his family and how far he will go to save them. Thank you very much.